Okay. Hitamek Skanatani. It is November 11th, 2014, and I am out here at Spobikimi to do my weekly phenological survey. And today it is 13 degrees below zero. Now this is quite a dramatic change from my last visit just 5 days ago, when I was out here with shorts and sandals and just a long sleeve shirt. This is the way of things out here in Alberta, Kitawak in Blackfoot territory, where as we move into the winter, this first winter moon, we just got through the full moon, by the way, a few days back. So we're into the latter half of the first winter moon, Itotstoi, and in these transition periods, we can switch back and forth very rapidly. 2 weeks ago, it was very cold and stuff out here. It was like a really frosty, foggy day. Last week I was in shorts, or 3 weeks ago there were still rattlesnakes out. Today it's 13 below zero. So things change rather dramatically. This is why in the Blackfoot calendar we only have 2 seasons. We have summer and winter, Nipo and Stoi. These transitions, even though there's words in the language that might correlate to what you call fall or spring or what have you, Moto and Moko in Blackfoot, these are really like dawn and dusk. They're not really seasons unto themselves. They're just the changeover. And so obviously we've entered winter here, and from here out, we will have warmer days. It will go above zero and everything, but it's going to be pretty cold from here out for the next 6 moons at least, until we go into the last winter moon. The winter here is always 7 moons, so this is the first of the 7 moons, and then depending on the year, you get 5 or 6 summer moons. But the transition periods always happen in the first and the last winter moon, where the weather's flip-flopping like this from well above zero to well below. Any case, today I'm going kind of counter sunwise on my round of Spobikimi, what I call the turtle waters, this pond. I'm going to travel this route up here along the west, what I call the west length. It just takes me along the pond. There's magpie there going across. I don't know if you can see it. There's a couple of magpies back at the parking lot when I first pulled in, and I left them some food. But yeah, travel along this west length, and then drop down into the Owlwood, and then make my way to the river and do my round this way today. See what's happening. The snow has been here since Sunday. It's Tuesday now, so it's been a few days. So the tracks that I see here, be pretty hard to discern exactly when they were laid, but at least we'll kind of get a chance to see who's all around. Right now I can see there's a pretty big deer here, probably a mule deer, but not sure about that. When you notice on the pond itself, don't see any tracks yet, and that's because it's not quite cold enough yet for that stuff. Up in the sky here, what I'm trying to show is that there are significant flocks of opspinny Canada geese moving at higher altitude, and these ones are actually headed south. So that's a migrating flock right there. When we see them at lower altitudes, they're just moving from place to place. There's a lot of geese that stick around here all winter. I don't know for sure whether any of them were the same geese that were here in the summer, or if these are the more northerly geese that come down to winter here. Hard to say. So here's a lower flying flock. See if I can get them in the frame. Just a little clan flying very low. They're just here. They're just sticking around. They're making their way probably from the river over to some stubble field to eat for the day. They all winter long, the geese, and I'll demonstrate this on video when the time comes. But the geese stick around the river during the nights, and then move to the stubble fields during the day. And at the rivers, they stick around the open crags of water. And in the evening, when they get in those, huddle around those open crags, they go right at the edge of the water. They lay down on the ice to sleep. And at night, when you're looking at that open crag area, you don't even see geese there. It just looks like the line of the ice. So it's a really good camouflage. Plus, being out on the open river like that, they can see a long ways away from them. That's what the geese like to do. That's why their body's made the way it is. They're a tundra bird, so they like to be in places where they can see a long distance around them. That way predators can't get at them as easily. But here they do face a lot of predation. You got the bald eagles that hunt them all winter, and the coyotes, and they can be kept pretty active all night. You always got to have at least one gander on watch for alerting the others of incoming predators. Yeah, there's a lot of goose activity going on at the river right now. I hear magpie nearby, so I'm gonna shut off the camera, and when I come across something, we'll have a look. Here's a good example of why you should pay attention to magpies. We just heard that magpie calling. He's right here. See the magpie? He's calling over here. He's alerting me to something going on over here, and look what we got. There's the porcupine. This magpie's calling out, saying, hey, over here there's a porcupine. I'm going to try to approach without freaking out this porcupine. Maybe if I take my time. I suspect he's gone over this way already because he could hear my voice before, but I'm not sure about that. If he was concerned, he'd probably be climbing the tree already. And if he does get concerned, we'll see him climb this tree pretty quick. Alright, he's gone on the other side, and it looks like he's starting to climb. There he is. It's just a little guy. They got really good climbing abilities. Yeah, this is a young one. Not a big porcupine at all. He's checking me out now. This is what we call a gate scup in Blackfoot. Yeah, this is probably just a year old. He's a little guy, little porcupine. Hey buddy. He's coming down. buddy. How are you? Oh, you're just a little baby. Just a baby. They got a kind of a musk I can smell. Oh, he's got a little bit of a musk going on, and he's getting a little bit of defense posture, giving me his back there. You can see the quills in there. They got thousands of quills, and if I was to reach out and touch him, it'd just take a little flick to put a lot of those quills in me. A lot of there's every year when I'm teaching students, I have to kind of discount a myth, and there is people in the community say or believe a lot of times that the porcupines will throw their quills. They don't throw their quills. They do make a flicking motion if they're gonna try to hit you with their quills. Like right now, he's kind of starting to be in a defensive posture, and if he feels with those outer hairs, if I was to brush him on those outer hairs at all, he's gonna flick up with his tail. His tail is tucked down under. He's gonna flick up with his tail, and he's gonna quill the hell out of me. Those longer outside hairs are really sensitive to the touch. So he's postured right now, believe it or not. It looks like he's just a ball of fluff, but he's postured for defense against me. He's come down. He was probably worried that he was a little bit too exposed. So he's come down here. Look at his strategy here. He's put himself in a position where he's basically in a corner, but he's put his defensive side toward me, his back side toward me, with his tail tucked, ready to whip out. And he's got his outer hairs up, puffed up, so that he'll be able to feel me if I start to touch him at all. If I go to bite him or something like that, if I was a predator, he would feel me, my face coming in with those outer hairs right away, and he would strike up. So this is a porcupine's defense. A lot of people, and this is a good lesson too, like a lot of people think that it's a bad idea to have your back against the wall, and in some situations it could be, but in other situations it's a good thing. And so he's set himself up so that his really vulnerable side, which is his head side and his legs and all of that, are are tucked away from me. His belly, all of that is tucked away, but his weapon is out. His weapon is at the ready, and he's just going to be patient and wait for me to leave. If I don't leave, eventually he will try to make a getaway. It's he's going to just feel things out and see if I'm after him or what have you. So I'm going to stick around here and just for a little bit and see what he decides to do. I think he's going to decide to start moving pretty soon. But this was a smart move of his. Come down, get in this little nook, put his weapon toward me, and see if I mean him harm. Yeah, see, like I was saying, he is now starting to, it doesn't take too long, and he's starting to experiment, kind of turn to face me. He will be quick to turn around and put his back to me if I was to attack him or anything, but let's just sit here a minute. He's going to turn to face me again. Hey, buddy. Start making his way out. Feeling vulnerable. Hey, buddy. Hey, little guy. Hey, little guy. Wish I had some fruit for you or something. Oh, he's looking for something to eat, huh? I'm gonna rush back and see if that pumpkin is still by the, yeah. Last week, there was a pumpkin by the, tossed out by the parking lot. So I'm gonna see if that pumpkin's there, and if it is, I'll bring it back here. Probably this guy will be gone by then, but I'm just gonna give it a try. Yeah, the pumpkin is still here. So, push my way into the brush here. And here it is. Looks like birds have been visiting it. Hard. Really hard. I try to bash it on one of these pieces of one of these fence posts here. Yeah, I'll bash it against that. See if I can break it up. Alright, so yeah, that worked. I've got a few pieces of pumpkin to bring to my porcupine friend. The only question now will be whether the little porcupine has gone up into a tree or whether he's gone, left from that spot or not. Haven't been gone long, but you know, if I was him, I'd probably hightail it to a different location. Of course, with the snow, I can follow him to wherever he's gone and give him these, and even if he's gone up the tree, I can leave these at the base, and when he does come down, they'll be there waiting for him, a nice treat. So at least that will leave him with an impression, a little bit that maybe at least I myself am not out to harm him. I'm in fact here to befriend him. I wouldn't mind getting to know some porcupines out here. There used to be one that my wife and I were pretty good friends with that we called Peekaboo, but I haven't seen Peekaboo for a long time, and kind of fear the worst about Peekaboo. But this little guy has the potential here to make an impression, and could be a nice ally. Once you get animals trusting you, then you get a lot more insight into their lives. My wife and I one summer spent every day out here with the beavers, to the point where they were really trusting us, coming right up, sitting beside us, showing us different plants, things that could be eaten that we hadn't known before. So they were really teaching us, and we got, they brought their little baby up to meet us, and it was really cool. So, unless you're putting their lives in danger, like for instance, if I was somewhere where people normally hunted porcupines, then I might not try to condition any porcupine to the notion that a human being can be safe. But nobody here, aside from myself actually, that I know of, eats porcupines. Certainly not here from the city park, so there's no worries in that regard. So we'll see if he's still there when I get there. Right on. porcupine is still here, and so hopefully I can give him his treat directly here. Got a piece of pumpkin for you. Hey little guy, what you eating? What'd you find? You want a pumpkin? Want a pumpkin? Yeah, he's found a little bit of green, something under the snow, but I'm looking forward to when he figures out that just giving him a piece of pumpkin. I think he's really gonna like that. See that little kick? That's his defense. You'd probably appreciate me to back up a little bit. So I'll give him a little bit of room. Now he's going to go back over that way where he was finding the green plants, but hopefully he'll pick up the pumpkin and enjoy it. So far he's more interested in those green plants. Does he smell it? Does he smell it? I think so. We'll see. He's got an itch. I got an itch. Yeah, he's trying to pluck them so that he can pluck them and move back. And he's taking a dead leaf. Thought I'd leave that porcupine alone for a minute with the see if he discovers the pumpkin, follow this trail he left, and see where he came from. Oh yeah, he's been in here. This is like probably like porcupine heaven. Got a whole bunch of, somebody knocked down one of these bigger trees, left the whole thing piled up here for the golf course here. It does look like there's a continuation of the trail out this way though, so he might not have been actually staying in there or anything. Yeah, here's a little bit of trail, porcupine trail coming out here. like spent some time in these logs, and then there's an older trail here that's been kind of blown over from the other day. So he's probably been going back and forth between these trees and these logs. These deadwood here is probably where he's sleeping. Can get really protected under these piles of logs that the golf course guys have put over here. This is kind of their refuse area. Let's go see if he's discovered any of those pumpkin pieces yet. Left my backpack over there. Alright, back here with the little guy, and he is eating, but he's not really concerning himself with the pumpkin at all. I'm gonna try to figure out what this plant is that he was chewing on here. Let's see what we got here. Looks like it's a it's got a clover leaf. So I'm guessing it's either white clover or black medic. It looks like a smaller leaf, so I'm guessing it's black medic that he's eating on here. Definitely a clover in any case. He's just eating some grass. Alright, I've done my thing with this guy. Maybe he's not going to be interested in the pumpkin, maybe he will, but I'm going to leave him alone for a little bit. I might stop by a little bit later and see if he ever got around to tasting the pumpkin or not, but for right now I think he's had enough of me, and it's time for me to go see what else is going on around the pond. Yeah, so I've dropped down into the owlwood and just roaming around down here following a deer trail, and I've come across this scene where a buck has stopped and rubbed his antlers on this little tree here. Snapped off part of it. Not really sure what kind of tree this is. Normally when I see this behavior, it's the bucks are doing this on usually on willow, but that's earlier in the season when they're trying to tear their velvet off. What he's doing here is for some different purpose. Looks like it's probably judging by the spines and stuff, this is probably just a very young bullberry plant growing these spines. And looking at the leaves here, look a lot like the leaves over here on these bullberries. So yeah, I'm expecting that this is just a young bullberry plant, but some you know, these leaves are pretty big compared to some of the bullberries, and spines are pretty big, so I almost wonder if it's something else. I don't know, but to me the important thing is that it's not willow, and normally when I see that kind of behavior, I see it on willow. Here's another example here. Again, this is definitely bullberry now, and he's just shredded this one. So because the velvet should have been off long ago, I'm not exactly sure why the rubbing is occurring right now. This has obviously occurred in the last couple of days because the tracks leading around it here in the snow. So usually when I see it during the time they're stripping off the velvet, my suspicion is that they use the willow because it has a kind of a natural painkiller in it. You know, it's basically It's basically nature's aspirin. But why he'd be rubbing right now and breaking up bullberry plants, I'm not entirely sure. But good to note anyway. Alright, so I've got a hypothesis about the deer and why a deer that had already lost its velvet might spend time tearing up a little tree with its antlers. And although it's just a hypothesis, it seems like the most likely explanation, and that's simply as a form of training, as a form of martial arts. Basically the deer's form of martial arts, where the potential is that as a buck he's going to be getting in a fight with another buck, and aside from actually sparring or fighting with another animal with antlers like that, another deer, his best opportunity for training himself out here is to find a tree with some branches that are antler-like and practice training. Makes all the sense in the world. It's something that I myself do out here with the trees. I practice my martial arts, my human martial arts, but why wouldn't a deer practice a deer's martial arts out here with the trees? It makes a lot of sense. So not that I'm in any way certain that that's what's going on, but I think it's a good starting point, a good hypothesis to lay out there, and maybe I'll prove myself wrong at someday. Now I'm out here on the Old Man River, and you can see how much has changed in 5 days. 5 days ago the pond and the river were totally open. Now the pond is totally frozen over. The river in this direction upstream has a lot of it already frozen over, and then downstream here we got these icy patches and open patches. But that is quite a significant change from what this river was like last week. Pretty amazing degree of change out here, and it's just always fun to hear how quickly the seasonal shift occurs. Alright, what we're looking at here is the only bit of open water on the pond, and it's just a very small little bit at that. This is the spring at the south end of the pond that's fed underwater by the river, and there's always some open water here, but even looking at just how little is here today, I've been watching this area for 7-8 years now regularly. The only time that spring gets closed that much is when there's some serious cold. So I suspect the temperatures last night probably dropped down to -30 or thereabouts, because usually there'll be a nice pool of open water there, kind of a refuge for any of the animals that need some open water when the river is closed. The river's not all the way closed, but it's got such a sudden amount of ice on it already. It's a little bit, it's just pretty extreme. So yeah, I think last night the temperature dropped really good, and even today we're still at like 13 below zero. So yeah, it's pretty cold, but it's gonna get colder. Our winters bring us to 40 below, and even sometimes colder than that. You're not gonna be able to see it, but it's too far away at this point. But I did just see the I did just see the belted kingfisher fly past. Apokini, the white necklace. And so he's still here. Confirmation. Belted kingfisher is still on site here at Spopikimi. So I think he's going to try to stick around for the winter. So we should have more encounters with him in the future. Some magpie here. Just sitting still, trying to conserve energy. So cold. He's getting nervous because I'm taping him, so I'm not going to continue. I'm just going to move on so that he doesn't have to move around and waste energy. Down here with their running through with the dog. I heard the dog on the other side, which probably means it chased the porcupine, if the porcupine was around. So I don't know if I'll bother returning there. Might, just to check and see if the pumpkin had been touched, but I don't suspect I'll find the young porcupine there again after the dog guy ran through. Alright, I've come around the levee. There's several people out here now with dogs, and I don't know if you'll be able to see them here. They're just behind these trees on the levee. Maybe when they come into that clearing there, you'll be able to see them. But basically, the dogs go right there. There's some people following, but yeah, there's several people out here, at least 3 people, and at least 4 dogs, and bring the dogs around, and it pretty much guarantees that the animals are gonna hide. So I'm gonna be making my way out of here, but I do want to go back and check on that pumpkin, and I want to make note of some of the changes from last week. For instance, alright, we didn't hear the belted kingfisher last week, but I did hypothesize that he was still around. Sure enough, he is. We identified that. I heard some of the smaller birds. I heard a downy woodpecker. I heard the nipomaki, the black-capped chickadee. I heard the cricket sound of the Bohemian waxwings. I didn't sight any of those birds, but I didn't need to because my ear tells me they're there. But certainly one thing that's changed is that I haven't seen anywhere near the amount of waxwings here today as we saw last week. They're still around, but it's probably just that there's not enough food for them to bother hanging around the owlwood. They go to someplace else that has more berries. So I suspect they're on the other side of the river in what's called Indian Battle Park, hanging out over there. Other things that have changed, obviously, the pond is all iced up, so the beavers are locked under. The muskrats probably aren't locked under completely yet because they have what's called the push-ups that they create, little mud and grass blocks up through the ice so they can continue to come out until it gets really, really cold and just locks solid all the water around those push-ups. Haven't spotted any flickers today, but I do suspect that there's at least one still around, and we'll see if I confirm that on future visits. Mallards obviously aren't here at the pond because the pond is frozen over. I did see some mallards just in groups of like 2 or 3 pass overhead as I was walking along the river past low, so they are moving back and forth along the river to different places. One of the best places for where the waterfowl congregate is just a little ways downstream from here at what they call the Alexander Wilderness Park here, and may or may not visit that park this winter, but usually there's a lot of ducks of various kind that stick around all winter long there on the open water. So even though the mallards aren't here at the pond, there's still some around. Certainly lots of geese. Some of the geese are moving south, as we saw. Hadn't seen that last week. Others are sticking around nearby, just moving between the pond and the stubble fields, that kind of thing. Got a young porcupine here on site now, and yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the big changes and stuff from what we were seeing 5 days ago. Substantial, but most of it is just the weather that's shifted. Yeah, as suspected, the porcupine is now up the tree here. I'm betting he was chased up there by dogs. See if there's any indication of that. We got dog prints right here. Got some human prints going out, coming back. I don't know, this might be mine. Let's go see if he ate any pumpkin anyway. Yeah, he looks like he's eating a branch up there. He's gnawing on the, where'd he go? See if I can find him again here. Oh yeah. He's gnawing the bark off that branch. Maybe he just heard the dogs and made his run for it, 'cause it doesn't look like any dogs have been down here. Doesn't look like he's touched the pumpkin either. No pumpkin interest. Yeah, it looks like he ate the grass here for a little bit. Wandered over here, did a little pee, then at some point decided to head up the tree, and up there eating bark now. So in any case, I'm a little surprised he didn't like the pumpkin. I've seen other porcupines just go crazy over pumpkin, but oh well, at least I tried. So I'm gonna head out now. No eagles today, but they're still here for sure. Oh, I spoke too soon. There's an eagle. See if I can get him in the viewfinder here. Jeez, he's pretty hard to see in the viewfinder itself. Zoom in that area and see if yeah, he's pretty hard to find in this little camera. But there is definitely an eagle up there. He's kind of circling. He's pretty high. He's heading upriver. So yeah, just when I'm calling him out, there he is. Anyway, that's it for today. Headed out.